You are listening to The Black Landscape with Andrea Spearman, where Black excellence is always trending. Welcome back. This is your host, Andrea Spearman, and this is The Black Landscape, where we chat with emerging and established Black leaders here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I am a light-skinned Black woman with green eyes and curly brown hair with pastel pink glasses, wearing a very soft olive-colored tank top today. Today we're here with dance artist Babatunji Johnson.
Hi, my name is Babatunji Johnson, and I am a Black male. I have brown eyes. I have no hair on my head or my chin. And I am wearing my favorite minty green tracksuit.
I love it. So today we're talking with Babatunji, and he is an amazing, brilliant dance artist. But before we dive into that, tell us briefly about your background. I know you're not a Bay Area native, so where'd you come from?
I was born in Portland, Oregon, and at the age of 11, moved to the Big Island of Hawaii. That was kind of where I felt like my life really blossomed. So whenever someone asks me where I'm from, I tell them that I'm from the Big Island of Hawaii. That was also where I started dancing as well.
Mm-hmm. And was it dancing like elementary school, or did you go to a special academy?
I didn't actually get into dancing until I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the 9th grade when I really got into it. And though there were dance classes in school, I actually only started dancing because there was a krump documentary called Rise by a director. Yeah. The director, David LaChapelle. Prior to watching that, You Got Served came out. So that was hella dope. And everyone wanted to do that, me included, but I was afraid that I'd kill myself trying to break dance. Hawaii is kind of late in regards to receiving like the in thing, the new fad. And so by the time I was 15, crip walking was getting really popular in Hawaii. And so I tried learning that, but I had 2 left feet and I couldn't do it to save my life. And when I watched that documentary, crumping just felt so raw, and like there wasn't necessarily a right and a wrong. As long as you are feeling it, you're in it at that point. And so I think that that was really appealing to me. And of course, I was an adolescent with lots of emotions that I didn't know how to understand them or how to release them. And so that became the avenue. And so YouTube was really my greatest teacher, because once I started learning about it from the documentary, then I was just watching YouTube tutorials on YouTube tutorials. And that was really how I got into doing everything.
I love that. Seeing the film, and not even necessarily just the Rise film, but for so many of us, seeing something, that movement quality in a film, in a music video. For a lot of people, it was Michael Jackson with the moonwalk.
Yep.
And there's just something about seeing folks who look like us on film. Truth. And getting that spark of inspiration, like, wait a minute, that's looking kind of dope. I like that. Like, wait, can I do something like that? Okay. And your body just starts moving as you're watching it. You're like, wait, okay, let me. And I love that you say it's like, it sparked something in you and you went to go get more of it.
Mm-hmm. That's the truth.
And it's so funny and interesting that you said that Hawaii was kind of slow on the pickup of like trending things that were happening.
Yes, they're very, of course, now with the rise of like everything on Instagram and TikTok and all that, like I'm sure the whole world is on the same wavelength. But yeah, Hawaii was playing telephone.
Yeah. So what was the dance scene there? It wasn't so much krumping, right?
No, it wasn't crumping. Actually, me and my homies were kind of the ones who were, at least on the east side of Hawaii, we were the only ones in sight who were doing it. I mean, I'm sure that we weren't the only ones who watched the documentary, and maybe there was some other kids who was going in on it, but we took to it, and then we started using it in performances, like performing at talent show. That was my first time ever like gracing the stage, and that was like a turning moment for me, because I was like, wait a minute, this dance thing, not only does it feel good, but like it's making people happy. Like people seem elated after watching me do my little thing on the stage. And so then it felt like it was something larger than me at that point. And like, oh, okay, I have purpose in doing this, because what better joy to bring than to uplift other people. So from the talent show, we ended up taking it to the streets, and we had flips for tips. Where we would just be crumping, and we started picking up some popping, we started picking up some breakdancing, all off of YouTube, and then just incorporating it into our routines and our freestyles on the street corners. And every time somebody would drop a cent in there, or a dollar, if we was lucky, we'd all start doing backflips, because somehow, I don't know how we survived it, but we each taught ourselves how to do backflips in the backyard as well. We were wild.
Determined.
Very determined, very, very determined. So yeah, that was the dance scene. In regards to like street dancing, there was a little bit of battles going on, but because I was going to a charter school at the time, I didn't know like the in crowd, or the people who were doing that, until a little bit later on.
You weren't in the in crowd?
No. I mean, like I maybe I was in the in crowd. Let's say I was in the in crowd, but I didn't feel like I was. I didn't believe that I was good enough to try to be friends with or talk to the people who were big in the battle scene. And I mainly just followed my other friends to the battles and would watch them participate, and then would participate sometimes after watching them, after being inspired by them participating. Because it's just, I don't know, I have maybe low self-esteem issues at the time.
Well, you know, high school, that's such a turbulent time.
Exactly.
Almost everyone has had those moments of like,
not me. I'm not the one.
Right.
But yeah. So there was street dance, and there was battles, and then we got noticed doing our street performances by a studio called Center Stage Dance Studio, and they asked us to teach some classes. And quickly they learned, like, okay, not only are these kids raw, like they have something really amazing that will bring other customers, other students that we don't have and haven't seen, but also these kids don't know how to teach, because they have no pedagogy. It's just you watch them on YouTube and then you try and copy it, but like there's a certain degree of breaking down that we didn't understand. So we knew that we were good at learning from YouTube, but what we were trying to emulate and then teach to other people that we learned from YouTube, we quickly understood that we did not actually understand what we were doing. We were just naturally talented and lucky in that sense. And so we were then put into dance classes as a part of the criteria for taking the job. And we started doing like ballet and contemporary and modern. And so that was when things kind of opened up even broader for me.
Absolutely. I think that insight that those folks over at the studio had is like, okay, these folks are talented. Let's get them a little bit of development, some education. Let's assist them in elevating their artistry by giving them these resources and tools to get on that teaching track if they want to continue doing that.
That's the true. And also give them new skills, because we was learning like ballet and contemporary and modern, and then we would go to the battles, or we'd do our routines, and we'd start to incorporate some of those movements. And sometimes it didn't go well because they're like, "What is that? That's whack. That ain't hip hop."
Right, you start doing pas de chas.
Exactly. They're like, "What?"
In the middle of it.
But if we mix it in just right, then it's like, oh, we got something different than the other team didn't have. And so, yeah, it definitely, the horizons were really broadened by being brave enough to encompass multiple styles of dance in our body, instead of just like, oh no, I'm good at this.
Yeah, it's great that you all took a chance on yourselves as well to be open to that person or persons suggesting those resources and tools for you all. And it's like, here's something to elevate yourself.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about dance, how did you make the trajectory? How did you get from Hawaii to meeting and dancing with Alonzo King, famed choreographer, y'all? Google it if you don't know who that is, which you should if you live in here in the Bay.
Yeah, that was a big jump. Well, being in Hawaii, there was a sense of pride for the island, and my goal as a dancer not only was to bring joy to everyone around me, but I also wanted to put Hawaii on the map, quote unquote. Like leave my mark and like elevate Hawaii, because when you're looking online, when you're watching videos and stuff, like nobody says nothing about Hawaii because it doesn't have a scene like that. And we were watching So You Think You Can Dance, and there'd be that random like dancer from Hawaii, and it'd be like, oh my goodness, he's so good, that's amazing.
Yeah, Capono.
Yeah, okay.
He was one of my favorites.
Incredible.
He didn't get enough time on the show, but that's
he did not. No. That's a whole other conversation. So yeah, there was that was something that we wanted to do, me in particular. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to get on So You Think You Can Dance, or me and my crew, we're going to get good enough to be on America's Best Dance Crew, and that's how we're going to do it. So that was my main focus. While I was dancing, I was also like, okay, I also need to make money just in case I don't get to put Hawaii on the map. And so I had started doing a business major in college with a dance minor. And while I graduated high school, I was in college, and at the same time I was still working at the studio and training with the group. Alonzo King and his company came to Hawaii to perform at UH Hilo. And he also came to the studio that I worked at to teach a master class. But the day that he came, it was a gorgeous day. It was so beautiful and so sunny. And so I was like, what? I'm not going to go and take ballet class. No, we're going to Kona side, which is on the west side of the island. And we're going to go to the beach. Like, let's hit it up. And so we rolled out, me and all the homies. And I got a call from my the director, kind of chewing me out and the others, like, why are you not here? This is world class choreographer. You're so lucky to be having this opportunity. Why are you squandering it? I thought you were serious about dance. And I was like, oh man, she's tripping. And then she's like, you have to come to the performance tonight. And so I was like, okay, whatever. So we rushed back from the other side of the island to make it to this performance. And I had only seen like Lula Washington perform, and I saw one other company perform, but like I didn't see the value in performances that happen on the proscenium stage. I mainly was like, oh, TV movies, music videos, like commercial more like it, or was more of my my flavor. The stars. And I saw the company perform, and it was breathtaking. I hadn't seen anything like it, and I was very confused because I understood that they were doing balletic steps. However, it seemed like they were reading from a different textbook. I was like, that's ballet vocabulary, but like, I don't know. It looks like it's got some slang on it. It was just,
it's got some seasoning on
so,
it.
yeah, I was so I was just, I was confused and enthralled and in rapture. And I was also feeling emotions that I didn't understand. I didn't have words for. It was akin to excitement, but also love. And I just hadn't put the two of those things together, except for like, we won the battle. Yeah, we did it, man. Yeah. Like, there was a lot of complex things that were occurring inside of me that I had no idea of, but I did understand that whatever it is, it's because of this. And I have to figure out what that is. And so I had the pleasure of saying hi to him and some of the dancers after the show. And then I went on my merry way.
And twirled away, huh?
It twirled away with a new enthusiasm for ballet and for contemporary. I didn't really like them very much because, I just didn't see the value in them. However, understanding that is a pathway, that style of dance is a pathway to get to where those dancers were, and to gain the strength and the understanding that those dancers had, that I had just viewed on stage. I was like, okay, I can get through my biases to gain. And from there, I went on into college into my second year, and I was like, what the hell am I doing? I don't want to be a business person. I'm done. If I don't make money, it's okay. I have to dance. And so I dropped out, and I had my teachers always saying, oh, you should, Lines would like you, Lines would like you, Lines would like you to get into like the BFA program. And I was like, okay. And so, sorry, prior to dropping out, prior to deciding that I'm going to drop out completely, I had dropped being at UH Hilo, and I was trying to transfer into Dominican University in San Rafael that has a BFA program that is in collaboration with Alonzo.
Yes.
And so that my credits weren't transferable. So I would have to repeat a whole year. I'd have to just do 4 years of college. And I was like, nah, I already did 1.5. Like, this is not right. And then on top of that, they didn't provide any financial aid because they're a private university. And I already owed Sally Mae so much. So I was like, I'm just going to drop out of college entirely and join this training program that actually is more focused. I wouldn't have to do any academics. I would just train in the same building as the company all day, every day. And so I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And my mom threw a party and raised a bunch of money to assist me going over there. And then I said my farewells, and I moved to San Francisco.
Oh, bless your mom.
Yeah,
to be so supportive.
She is everything.
Because, some of our folks would have been like, you going where? To do what?
And with no money?
You just out here on faith and grace.
That's the truth.
And what was the experience like once you came back on this side and started taking those classes every single day and really being in the heart of it?
It was a wake-up call. First off, Hawaii, I was someone in Hawaii. Like, People
Ah.
knew my name. By the time I left, like, I was that dude. At least on the big island. Like, if I get to another island, no one knew me. But like, I had rep.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did I have rep and respect, but I also had I was a good dancer. I was hella good. And when it came to being in competition with other dancers, I was on par with or better than some of the best on the island. And so there was this, I had an ego. And then I went to Lines, and that ego got crushed hella fast.
Bum,
Because,
bum.
like, I had danced, I don't know, how old was I when I got there? I was 20, I think, or I was 20 or 21 when I got to San Francisco.
A
And so I had
fetus.
been dancing. Exactly. I had been dancing for all of 5-6 years. But like, I went there and there was kids younger than me who'd been dancing their whole lives, and they were good. And so I was just instantly humbled, and terribly embarrassed. And I had the thought of going home, like, instantly, like, nah, this isn't for me. And then I went the second day, and that healthy ego kicked in. That thing that helped me win battles, kept me alive when I was telling myself I wasn't good enough. That thing kind of kicked in, and it looked at everyone. Instead of competition, it was almost as if it grew it in itself. And it saw everyone as an inspiration. And so I just got really hungry and used everyone, how much better everyone was than me, to fuel myself to push above and beyond my boundaries. And my teachers would tell me, wow, you're like a sponge, because you don't know what you're doing, but you just suck everything in. You suck everything in, and then somehow it just becomes you. Like, if you were to explain it, we know that you wouldn't know how to explain it, but you have some gift where you're just able to drink from everything, and you don't seem to have any defenses or biases. You just take it all in, like a fetus, like a newborn baby trying to just learn from the world. So yeah, that was what it was like. It was jarring, and it hurt, but in the best way. And it ultimately stripped me of my armor and made me just available to become something more than I was allowing myself to be before.
So right now we're going to take a short break to hear from sponsors. To catch up on previous episodes of The Black Landscape, download on Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and we'll be back after the break with Babatunji Johnson. When you are shopping for essentials, isn't it annoying to see the high-priced brand labels for basic everyday products? Try Brandless instead. Brandless is one of the world's fastest-growing commerce platforms. They make it easier for people to take better care of themselves, their families, and the planet by working with the best ingredients, partners, and customers to drive community-led innovation and validation. By focusing on collaboration over control, quality over packaging, and people over promotion, they're leading a movement that believes that making better choices should be simple and easy. All of their products are high quality, yet offered at simple, fair prices. I've been using the essential oils of eucalyptus and lavender in my home for years and given out many gift baskets from their beauty line. Just last year, I purchased a set of wine glasses and a cheese platter kit that has been used for many family gatherings. For every product sold at Brandless, you can be sure that they've scoured the world to research and meet the quality gold standards for that category. They really prioritize offering products that match people's values, preference, and requirements. Whether it be organic, non-toxic cleaning supplies or cruelty-free and clean personal care products free of over 400 questionable ingredients. Their products are crafted with intention, so you can brand less and live more. Get 15% off your purchase today by using the link in my bio. Try Brandless today and save on beauty, health, and home decor. I also host an audio series about dance movement artists in the San Francisco Bay Area called In Conversation. Guests have included Melesio Estrella, Latanya D. Tigner, Vanessa Sanchez, and more. Take a listen with the link in the bio. It's also available to listen on our Instagram Linktree. We are back with Babatunji. So in the larger world of ballet and contemporary movement, it's been very historically white-led and white-centered. How have you seen that landscape change over the years from your beginnings of being involved at the studio in Hawaii to now at this big place in your life where you're so well known and so well beloved, especially here in the Bay Area?
I will do it in two parts.
Yes.
First is my experience in regards to not what I've seen, but what I've taken on and experienced through just living. And that is, I was so fortunate. I grew up on Hawaii, which is like a racial melting pot. So I've seen all the colors since ever, and I've seen all the colors be accepted since ever, but since my childhood. And so then getting into the ballet and contemporary world, I joined Lines Ballet, which the director, the choreographer, he's Black, and he hires dancers from all walks of life and all different colors. And so again, I still felt diversity in the training program. Like, coming up before I got into the company in the training program, I noticed, there's not very many Black people here. However, I stuck close with the Black people who was there. And so I felt that camaraderie. Fast forward, I'm in the company and it feels that same way. And so I never saw necessarily a hierarchy. I noticed that, the higher I climb, the less people of color I see. I noticed when going on tour, we're around a lot of money, different donors or sponsors inviting us to different events. And I noticed, okay, there's not as many Black people at these functions, or people of color in general at these functions. But for the most part, I didn't receive any much uncomfortability besides the fetishization of just like, oh wow, you're this big Black guy with muscles and you move so amazing on stage. Like, oh my goodness, like I would get those things. But so it was super light in that regards, in regards to the oppressive experiences that I had in the dance world. However, outside of my company, looking at like classical ballet companies like San Francisco Ballet, New York City Ballet, American Ballet Theater, just like classical. And even watching different companies, Batsheva Dance Theater, Gothenburg Dance, NDT, like different contemporary companies in Europe, I did notice, there are not very many people of color. And I always found that interesting, but it was away from me until the Black Lives Matter movement really went in during the pandemic. I was in Seattle at the time, and I was hearing from dancers there and then also online, just like the discrimination that happens in the companies, and there was a lot of dancers being more more vocal about their experiences and how hard it is to get promotions. And even before that, paying attention to Missy Copeland's story and how hard and how much she had to fight in order to get to where she was as the first prima ballerina of color in American Ballet Theater, which is like the premier ballet theater or ballet company of the United States. And she had been in there for forever. And it was
forever.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, though I wasn't experiencing it, I was slowly but surely getting more and more privy to how fortunate and lucky I was, and how much more I needed to actually start to advocate in whatever way I could, because there's a lot of other people who aren't as fortunate as I am, or as I was at that time. So yeah, that was my experience, and from two different vantage points.
Yeah. And with all that going on, how does that set your mind now as you move from dancer to choreographer?
Oh man, I'll say that I'm frustrated because like I'm a choreographer, and then we have auditions for the piece. Like I'll be on a mixed bill, and so people will come into audition, and I'm like, there ain't nobody of color here. Like, and then when I do get one, it's like, oh, now I have a conflict inside of myself. Like, I want to lift this person up, but I need to figure out how can I do that without making them be now the token Black person in my piece. And so then it's just like, it's complicated. It's become very complicated, and it's made me actually want to find more ways to teach and encourage Black youth of color, to believe that there's a future for them in the dance world, so that there's a new generation of dancers coming up that stick with it, instead of like, hey, I don't see nobody that looks like me. Like, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm not going to make no money. How am I going to make a livelihood? I want to find some way. I don't know if it's to talk or to teach. I want to find some way to connect
It's both.
more. It is both. It is both.
And also, what you said about auditions, a lot of it is also in advertisement.
Yeah.
Whether that's by word of mouth or social media, or folks, doing those master classes or a workshop at certain studios to encourage folks to come out. One thing that Robert Moses does, he'll have a workshop before his auditions and encourage folks to come to the workshop to get to know him as well as a choreographer. So I've heard people say that that's one way of like recruiting, and also seeing who's out there, and
engaging,
also making it a two-way street as well.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. No, I want to.
So do both.
Something needs to happen. Something needs to happen. And now I'm more like, as I start to do, I'm still dancing with lines, but trying to shift things to be more project based. I do believe I'll have more time to energize the community in that way.
It's dream talk time now. What is a dream or goal for you?
I mean, I guess the biggest one, the largest one, the most important one is to be able to go through my career and truly being able to find consistent joy throughout all of the phases of it, as I age and am unable to do some of the things, as I meet different new oppositions, like still trying to be open and available to greet them with open arms and resolve them. Also, not giving up my artistry for the product, staying true to myself, staying true to my message, and not selling out for the dollar. And at the same time, actually being able to keep all of that integrity and still make the dollar and be able to provide for myself and my family. Those are my dreams. Love, enjoyment, integrity, and some money.
Right. Support the arts, people.
Please.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Babatunji. Where can the people find you?
Oh man, I need to stop being a hermit. Hit me up. I'm on Instagram. You can hit me up on Instagram. Just type down my name, Babatunji. I am mainly working with LINES Ballet at the moment. So we have a home season coming up in April, and I'll have some things coming out in the near future. There's going to be a movie that's coming out shortly that I was able to work on with Misty Copeland, and it was an incredible experience. So that will come out in the next year or so. You'll see me. I'm gonna come to y'all. I'm gonna start bubbling. There's a lot of things in the works.
Wonderful. We look forward to the film and to LINES season in April. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank all of you out there for listening and supporting another season. This has been another episode of The Black Landscape, where Black excellence is always trending.